Australia, a continent so dry it is considered 1/3 desert. Plagued by drought, flood, and fire. In the face of such extreme adversity, an abundance of wildlife seems unlikely. And yet, it is home to more than 1 million species of plants and animals. Many of them found nowhere else in the world. In the space of 24 hours, the quest to survive will take Australia's wildlife to the edge. And not all will make it out alive. The only reason Australia is not the largest island on Earth is because it is a continent. It stretches nearly 4,000 kilometers from the temperate south to the tropical north. Instead of winter and summer, the north of Australia has a wet season and a dry season. An annual cycle that dictates the lives and behavior of the plants and animals. It is dawn at the start of the dry season. The life-sustaining rains are now over, and the wildlife of Australia will begin to face their biggest challenges. Kangaroos are Australian icons. The red kangaroo is the world's largest marsupial and can grow to more than 1.5 meters. Australia is home to around 50 million kangaroos. And in the light of dawn, this female is creating one more. She licks her pouch clean and rests on her tail to give birth. This tiny infant looks helpless. And yet, it instinctively climbs into its mother's pouch, where it finds a food source and a home to grow in for the next 8 months. Its mother is already supporting another joey. She is a marvel of reproduction. She can mate almost immediately and produce yet another embryo, which she can store until her newborn joey is ready to leave the pouch. So adult females may be permanently pregnant. For other Australian animals, the mission to breed is a much longer journey. "2,600 kilometers northwest of Perth lies Australia's Christmas Island. It is a remote island dominated by rainforest. For one group of animals, the end of the wet season means they are almost out of time. For most of the year, the Christmas Island red crab lives in the rainforest, far from the coast. But this morning, it's time for some to make a move. These males are leaving the forest, making their way to the ocean to mate. Millions have already gone before them. They are one of the last groups of the season, and they may have left it too late. The first obstacle is the road. Although efforts are made to keep these travelers away from traffic, the drive to mate overrides any sense of road safety. Some will pay the ultimate price long before they reach their destination. Their loss will not be wasted. They will provide a handy meal for those still on the march. To get to their destination, these venturers may walk over 1 kilometre a day. Australia wouldn't be Australia without its eucalyptus forests. Eucalyptus account for about 3/4 of all native forests in the country and support many different animal species. Commonly known as a gum tree, it has toxic sap in its wood and leaves. But one iconic animal depends almost entirely on gum leaves to survive. This koala mother, feeding in the cool of the morning, is discerning, eating only 20 of some 350 species of eucalyptus on offer. She is able to process the leaves in a very long gut. And even her joey is sampling this toxic delight. These leaves are full of volatile oils that are highly flammable. A storm that is thundering far on the horizon has the potential to destroy this forest. And thanks to the gum trees, this forest actually wants to burn. It needs to burn. While kites can escape, the only hope for this wombat is to retreat into its burrow. And even then, it may be overcome by smoke. But ashes from the fire will fertilize the ancient Australian soil and actually help future eucalyptus to germinate. Eucalyptus seeds rest inside a wooden capsule, which opens and releases the seeds into the fertile ashes after a fire. This morning's fire is part of a cycle of regrowth that can have far-reaching effects. Deep in the forest, one animal relies on past fires for its only food. Armed with a very long tongue, the numbat's weapon of mass destruction functions best when it is coated with sticky saliva. It is known as the banded anteater. But termites are the numbat's main food. Both prey and predator are dependent on the woodland for survival. Termites eat the heartwood of the trees, and numbats eat the termites. Up to 20,000 in a day. It doesn't have the strength to break into a termite mound, so it follows their daily schedule. When termites are active early in the morning, numbats cash in. Termites are one animal that can actually benefit from forest fire. Trees that are injured and scarred by fire can be easy prey to some termites, giving them quick access to the heartwood they eat. So, for the numbat, fire can be both friend and foe. The aftermath of this morning's fire is now a feeding opportunity for some. Insects are flushed out of hiding, and these ibis take advantage before the ground has even cooled. The wombat has survived the fire, but its main food source, native grasses, has gone. These survivors are now refugees and will need to find a new home and a new food supply. Luckily, the Australian animals are as resourceful as the country is tough. And beyond the burnt forest, there are still green oases. A billabong is a pool of water that is cut off from its parent river when water levels drop. Water levels can range from a mere puddle to 5 meters at the height of wet season. While this landlocked billabong can trap aquatic animals, above the waterline there is an ever-changing parade of visitors. So one fish has set its sights sky high. This banded archerfish has found a way to conjure tasty meals from thin air. With a shooting range of almost 1.5 meters, the archerfish is the aquatic sniper of North Australia, turning something that was out of reach into a morning delivery. But these murky waters are also home to a fearsome ancient reptile. The saltwater crocodile, despite its name, can inhabit both salt and fresh water. It is free to range from the open sea, through rivers and wetlands, to the billabong. A formidable predator, it can easily take down a wallaby from the water's edge. But not until it is fully grown. Reaching maturity is against the odds for hatchling crocs. Less than 1% will make it. Luckily, the herons and egrets seem distracted by stranded fish this morning, as water levels recede with the end of the wet. This youngster may be able to negotiate a passage as it seeks a new home. One of the biggest dangers this hatchling faces is being eaten. Even if it makes it to juvenile status, it can still be eaten by another male defending its territory. This saltwater crocodile mother has been protecting her nest for around 3 months. But a single lapse is all it takes. When she returns to the water to regulate her body temperature, a thief moves in. Inside her nest is a banquet. And nothing gets past a monitor lizard. It uses its forked tongue to follow a scent. Stealing from a saltwater crocodile is a risky game. One egg leads to another. This looting treads a fine line between a free meal and a last meal. This protective mother will be on high alert because her eggs are due to hatch. The wet season has produced an explosion of speargrass that provides nesting cover for the magpie geese. They are the only waterfowl that breed in groups of 3. One male and 2 females form a blended family, sharing all responsibilities, incubating eggs and caring for the young until the following season. These are social birds that feed together and travel together, moving as a flock. But the safety of this flock is about to be breached. A full pantry of geese is a tantalizing sight for Australia's wild dog. For this lone dingo, a bird on a plate is hard to resist. But like any dog chasing a bird, catching one is unlikely. A stealthy underwater hunter has a much better chance of catching these birds. This crocodile is superbly adapted to the water. It can sneak in unnoticed. Slowing its heartbeat down to 2 to 3 beats per minute, it can stay underwater for at least an hour. It has a transparent eyelid that protects its eye, but still allows for vision. Even when it surfaces, it is only the tip of the iceberg that shows. She is the largest living reptile in the world. And a magpie goose is merely a snack. Some snacks in the billabong are not so tasty. These tadpoles, normally a welcome lunchtime treat, are being rejected. Barramundi are not fussy. They will eat just about anything. But these tadpoles are dangerous. From egg to adult, all cane toads are packing poison. These toads don't drink. They absorb water from their surroundings, emerging like a nightmare from the underworld. They were introduced to Australia to control beetles that were damaging sugarcane crops. But the toads were damaging too. They have no natural predators in Australia and breed at any time of year. They have invaded most areas of the north with a devastating effect on wildlife. The toads are fearless and have a taste for dog food. But biting this cane toad should come with a health warning, because trying to eat it can be a death sentence. As the midday temperature soars to 30 degrees, sometimes even the shade of a tree is not enough. Even Australian animals can be imperiled by heat. A kangaroo licks its arms to cool down. As the saliva evaporates, it cools the body. But the heat is not the only threat. And this dingo is not alone. Kangaroos are easily spooked. The midday heat will put both parties to the test. Hunting kangaroo is ambitious for one dingo. But hunting in a pack changes the odds. While the kangaroo may be faster, it is outnumbered. Eventually, it is overwhelmed. Rainforests make up less than 1% of Australia. And yet, 30% of the country's mammals and birds live here. Unlike its grounded cousins, this mammal has adapted to live in the trees. The tree kangaroo feeds on the leaves of at least 37 species of plants, some of them toxic. It has never been seen drinking water, so it is assumed that all its needs are met by the plants it eats. In the absence of monkeys, the tree kangaroo has claimed the rainforests of North Australia as its home. Its tail, though, is used strictly for balance. It cannot grip like a monkey's. But surprisingly, in true monkey style, and without fear, it can leap. For some animals, the end of the wet is birthing season. No small task when hanging upside down. This flying fox, or fruit bat, is in labor. And gravity is not on her side. She can turn upside down and hang like a monkey for some functions. But this upside-down world is alien to a bat and doesn't last long. She continues her labor in a more familiar position. A new generation of flying fox emerges. And yet, it cannot fly. She will need to keep it safe until its bones are strong enough for flight. And that will take weeks. But keeping safe here is a full-time job. The bats share these trees with a creature that has a built-in tracking device for warm-blooded animals. The carpet python is not venomous, but it is still dangerous. Death is by suffocation, and it swallows prey whole. Evasive action is required. But there is more peril that comes from the air. These fruit bats' mid-afternoon siesta is in for a rude awakening. Although this white-bellied sea eagle feeds mainly on creatures from the ocean, bats are also on the menu. Plucking a bat from the shelter of the trees is unlikely, but the eagle's presence causes panic. And panic causes flight. When bats are airborne, they become vulnerable to this master of the skies. This eagle claims the prize and returns to the rich environment of the Cape York coast. Offshore is the largest living structure on the planet, the Great Barrier Reef. Stretching some 2,300 kilometers, the reef is about the size of Italy. It supports a massive range of animals, from the largest to the smallest. And some of the smallest are the brightest. A kaleidoscope of color is created by the tiny animals that make up corals. The reef is home to 600 different types. Hard corals have a solid skeleton that supports them, while soft corals are flexible and often mistaken for a plant. If soft corals are the plants of the reef, then anemones are the flowers. With the ability to paralyze prey with their stinging tentacles, they are an unlikely host. But they've become a circus tent, home to a wide range of clownfish. The survival of these clowns is based on an intimate trade-off with the anemone. The clownfish gets a home that protects it from predators. Once it is acclimatized to the stings by rubbing its belly and ventral fins on the ends of the tentacles. The anemone takes rent in the form of food scraps and house cleaning. The clownfish cleans off parasites and will also defend its home from being eaten by other fish. It seems both parties contribute to a sense of safety and well-being. This is one happy neighborhood. This innocent-looking shell is not as passive as it seems. It is, in fact, a predator. To keep its prey chilled out, the cone snail puts chemicals in the water that sedate the fish. Using a telescopic tube that can extend twice the length of its body, it edges ever closer. On contact, it unleashes a harpoon through the tube that is loaded with venom powerful enough to kill 15 people. The fish is paralyzed in seconds. The hunter can now bury itself in the sand for a couple of days, digesting its meal at a snail's pace. As the afternoon cools, animals no longer have to hide from the heat. Their predators also arise. This inland taipan is on patrol. Burrows provide safety, but can also be a death trap. This predator carries enough venom to kill a rat 40,000 times over. Being cornered in a burrow is usually fatal. This loss of life is offset by a prolific breeder. The cane-field rat. She can produce up to 6 pups at only 12 weeks old. And the end of the wet is peak breeding season. But there is another youngster on the prowl. This coastal taipan may be young, but it packs an adult punch. A cold-blooded killer with a lightning strike. The result is almost immediate. But this youngster's eyes may have been bigger than its stomach. It follows the trail of another target. This may be a more realistic approach when swallowing prey whole. These rats may be a curse to the sugarcane growers, but they are a bounty for the taipan. The red crabs of Christmas Island are on a mission. They need to reach the shore to mate, avoiding the heat of the day to protect body moisture. But there is another resident here, waiting to block their path. Thought to be one of the most invasive species on Earth, the yellow crazy ant is aggressive and competitive. When disturbed, these ants go crazy, and that is how they've earned their name. They conquer prey by their overwhelming numbers. They also have a taste for crab. They spray formic acid that irritates and burns to subdue their prey. This is chemical warfare, targeting eyes and leg joints. The acid blinds and immobilizes, causing death by dehydration. The ants will eat the flesh from the inside out. For these crabs, it is journey's end. On another island, there are crabs of epic proportions. This is the largest known land crab, and it eats the world's largest nut. The harvest of this nut is left to gravity. The coconut and the coconut crab are a match made in heaven. This crab has enough strength to literally poke the eyes out of a coconut and split it open. competition for such a prize can result in tests of dominance. With crabs this big, size still matters. The meat of the coconut is not the only meat these crabs consume. In the canopy above, the survival of this chick is dependent on its parents. Luckily, the red-footed booby is well equipped for fishing. It is an accomplished plunge diver. It is also nimble enough to catch flying fish out of thin air. But feeding a chick is only part of its survival. The stability of the nest is also critical. And this is the parent's only precious chick. Just as the coconut falls, sometimes gravity claims life from a different tree. And in the shelter of the forest floor, there are some willing arms to catch it. This windfall will be devoured in the privacy of the burrow. The male crabs of Christmas Island must reach the shore if they are to mate. But the coastline of most of the island is a cruel cliff face of up to 20 meters. Their mission drives them to defy gravity and make for the beach. This cast of crabs is one of the last groups to journey here for the season. There have been many who have already mated and headed back to the forest. The sea is a life giver, replenishing body moisture and salts. But these are land crabs out of their depth. Each crab, desperate to rehydrate, faces yet another horror: drowning. Triggerfish help themselves. Against all the odds, though, the first stage of this epic migration is complete. The shoreline is where males and females unite. And this mating couple progress the journey to the next stage. She will brood her eggs on the beach and then release them into the ocean. As daylight comes to an end, he will start the long trek back to the forest. The onset of night brings out many sets of nocturnal wings. This swarm of bats is on the hunt for flying insects. Bats use echolocation to fly at night, using sound waves that reflect back to them to locate prey. But using sound waves has a drawback. Moths hunted by bats have the sharpest hearing in the animal kingdom and will take evasive action, sometimes dropping to the ground. although this can be equally dangerous. This long-eared bat has another plan. Its hearing is so sensitive, it can shut down echolocation and follow the sound of moth wings beating. It hovers, poised for an attack. In the darkness, the sound of tiny wings gives this moth away. But the leaf makes no sound. It is a surprise obstacle. When wings stop beating, prey is lost in the dark. But this moth can't play statues forever. And that is its downfall. Hunting is thirsty work. Getting a drink is an easy task. But there is an ambush predator sharing the drinking fountain. These freshwater crocodiles are native to North Australia. They will bide their time with an ever-watchful eye on the bats. Patience that pays off. And tonight, there is a new hunter in town. After months of guarding her nest through the wet season, there are calls in the air tonight that this salty mother has been waiting for. The monitor she saw off this morning will be the last intruder to her lair. Her eggs are hatching, and she is there to help. While her jaws may have the greatest bite force of any living animal, she is also capable of the most gentle of care. The temperature of her nest has determined the sex of these hatchlings. While mild temperatures produce males, anything above or below that will yield females. Regardless of their sex, they are already well equipped for survival. They know how to swim, and their jaws get straight to work. This will be their home, with their mother to protect them, for around 2 months. After that, they will take their chances. This male is a contradiction. He is a redback spider without a red back. Red is reserved for the female. He is attempting to mate with her, even though she could easily overpower him. This is a dangerous website, and he must approach with care. If he is mistaken for food, all will be lost. He makes it to first base and immediately begins to release sperm into one of her storage organs. To make sure his mission is not disturbed and that she is not distracted, he then offers her a meal. himself. A suicide somersault. She makes a start on the meal, squirting digestive juices onto his abdomen. In the ultimate parental sacrifice, he continues to offer her the gift of life as she quietly drains the life out of him. With his duties complete, he can log out. Back on Christmas Island, a receding tide before dawn and a waning moon are the trigger for an annual event. These females have already mated and spent 2 weeks on the beach brooding their eggs. And now they must release them. The eggs need to reach the ocean if they are to hatch. Each female puts her life on the line to give her offspring the best possible chance. If luck is on their side, the eggs will hatch in the sea, the larvae growing into baby crabs over the next 4 weeks. If the tide can bring them back to shore, each baby crab will retrace the steps of its parents back into the forest. And in 4 years' time, they will take part in the same epic migration that brought them to life. From desert to rainforest, the landscapes of Australia are as diverse as the wildlife. The wet season in the north is when plants explode into life. And the animals follow suit, rearing their young in this time of plenty. But this is also the driest inhabited continent, where animals have adjusted eating habits and breeding cycles to survive. It is years of evolution that have enabled these creatures to make it through the last 24 hours. The South Seas are famed as a tranquil paradise. They are anything but. From the frigid shores of the southernmost continent to the sun-drenched coral of the equatorial Pacific, covering over 1/6 of the globe, this is a water world of abundance, diversity, and mystery. But the biggest mystery is who will survive the next 24 hours in the South Seas. These soft eggs are the culmination of a journey that may have taken 20 years and thousands of kilometers. As the green sea turtle passes nurturing duties to the warmth of the tropical sand, this odyssey comes to an end. But another one begins. She must reach the cooling waters of the Pacific before the sun rises, or she risks cooking to death. The tropical sun breaking over the horizon tells her that today's adventure will be her most perilous yet. That same sun is already shining over 6,000 kilometers away, where the South Seas reach their end against the icy cliffs of Antarctica. It is the height of summer. The ice that formed in the very center of this continent over 800,000 years ago today completes its journey and melts back into the brine. It deposits an enormous payload of minerals. Under a sun that doesn't set, they feed a vast inverted pasture of algae. Grazed by Antarctic krill, they multiply to create a biomass of hundreds of millions of tons, possibly the largest of any single animal species on the planet. A massive feast for massive jaws. Humpback whales have traveled from beyond the equator to feast on up to 1.5 tons of krill per day. A multitude of other krill eaters are here for this bonanza, crucial to fuel them through the harsh winter. The emperor penguins have already put on a good layer of blubber and are sweltering in the balmy, near-freezing heat of high summer. A dip in the below-freezing water would be a welcome relief. Yet they linger on the edge of the ice, as if they sense a danger below. A predator lurks around an icy corner. The emperors can't wait forever. The commotion is music to the leopard seal's ears. This is the time of plenty for the leopard seal. It too is racing to put on the blubber that will get it through the winter. Like the icebergs set adrift from the continent, the unparalleled bounty of Antarctic water travels up the Pacific, turning into the world's most productive current, the Humboldt Current. It supports the greatest fishery in the world. Like a superhighway, it rolls up the coast of South America, all the way to the equator. On this trip, it licks the shores of Chile's Juan Fernandez Islands. Where a booming colony of fur seals basks in the early morning sun. But life for the fur seals isn't easy. Certainly not for the pups, whose mothers have a somewhat stern parenting style. But the mother is teaching the pup a valuable lesson. That wandering off has harsh consequences. Because this is a dangerous place. Bull seals are locked in a perpetual war for territory and the mating rights to the females that populate it. Many of the pups that die on these shores are collateral damage of the battles. The pups must learn their lessons quickly, because less than 2 weeks after birth, the mothers will return to the sea to feed. When the mothers go fishing, the temporary orphans play together. But not this pup. At only 1 month old, he has not eaten in nearly 2 weeks. And this morning, his energy is waning. All he can do is look out at the waves and hope that before the day is out, his mother will return. In this gigantic ecosystem, the currents are the lifeblood. Delivering nutrients and new migrants right across the world's greatest ocean. In the waters around the thousands of islands of Indonesia, they stir up a soup that combines with the tropical sun to create the most diverse community of marine life on the planet. The density of life leads not only to beauty, but also ferocious competition between neighbors for the cramped and garish real estate. So it is little wonder that some of the most deadly animals in the world live here. Morning is prime hunting time on the reefs of Indonesia. Sharks roam the open water with speed, maneuverability, and powerful jaws. The lionfish, with its venomous spines, prowls the reef. While the most poisonous fish in the sea, the stonefish, claims the seabed and waits in ambush. But there is one predator that is in a league of his own. A peacock mantis shrimp. Though only 15 centimeters long, he is a world champion. He is the only animal known to see circular polarized light. With 4 times as many photoreceptors as humans, he can see colors we can't even imagine. This morning, the mantis shrimp only has eyes for his favorite food: crustaceans. Tough nuts that few others can crack. No problem for the mantis shrimp and his secret weapon, hammer claws. These cudgels fire at 80 kilometers per hour, delivering 150 kilograms of force to rip this hermit out of its shell. The fastest punch in the animal kingdom. The only problem with being such a successful hunter is that the debris can really mess up your front room. Happily, the mantis shrimp is house-proud. Unhappily, this isn't his house. And the owner just got home. There are more mantis shrimps than there are comfortable crannies to accommodate them, so conflict is constant. The squatter successfully defends his stolen home. And this drifter now searches for a new burrow to appropriate. But not this one. The corals where the shrimp make their homes are created by animals called polyps. Architects, builders, and tenants of these structures. They extract food from the passing current. The sea anemone is a larger, more solitary relative of coral. It takes an active approach to hunting. As soon as prey touches its tentacles, tiny harpoon-like barbs fire into the fish, ensnaring it and injecting venom that begins the process of digestion, even before the anemone swallows it. But not all fish are on the menu. The clownfish is offered special treatment, an affectionate tickle rather than a deadly embrace. Even laying their eggs in the anemone's protective shadow. But it's a two-way relationship. The fish also protect their host from predators. But clownfish are not the only ones that covet a tentacled home. Bangai cardinal fish have staked a claim. But the larger clowns aren't sharing today. Driven off, the cardinal fish contemplate their next move. But a coral reef is not a place to let your attention wander. The pitiless heat of the tropical sun is rising. And on Australia's Rain Island, the turtle that was late to lay her eggs has stranded herself in a no-man's land of craters, traps, and bodies. Inside the pressure cooker of her carapace, the heat is building. Without the cooling touch of the ocean, her brain and body will slowly shut down. All around her, bacteria work on some of yesterday's travelers. Even a tiny cliff can be a deadly obstacle. If she falls on her back, she is doomed, unable to right herself. But the lap of the sea calls her forward. This time, she is successful. But there are bigger obstacles to come. It is prime feeding time on the Indonesian reef. From the murky depths, a predator ascends. Its skin strobes, as if set alive with electricity. With 3 hearts and green blood, surely a genuine alien would be no more unusual or deadly. The cuttlefish attacks in many disguises, changing not just its color, but its shape. Its strobing seems to glamour its victim before irresistible tentacles beam it to its deadly beak. This feast has a greater purpose. The female cuttlefish is nearing the end of her life and preparing to breed, if she can find a partner. The olive sea snake has one of the most powerful venoms of all snakes. So it has little to fear as it pokes its head into the reef to search for prey. Though it is occasionally punished for its rudeness. In the next crevice, its flicking tongue picks up a more appetizing scent. One strike is all it takes. It uses its body to hold the fish steady while paralysis takes effect. The enzymes in the venom begin the job of digesting the flesh. The snake dislocates its jaws and uses its fangs to walk its way up the fish's body. One good meal may be enough to sustain the olive for a week. The sun is now high on the Juan Fernandez Islands. For the fur seals, coats designed as survival suits in the frigid waters of the Humboldt Current are less suitable in the summer sun. As a result, early afternoon sees a remarkable exodus. Bulls are reluctant to abandon the territory they have fought so hard to win, and take only a short dip in the cool water. The seals favor an unusual relaxation position. Hanging upside down, the air bubbles streaming from fur so thick, the cold water never touches the skin. This daily migration leads to a mating behavior unique among fur seals. Bulls with no territory on the beach bring their battle to the sea. Dominant bulls with underwater territory can be just as successful at fathering young. The summer sun is bestowing its energy across the South Seas. But it is a gift not all the inhabitants are happy to receive. On Rain Island, a 19th century beacon tower stands over the turtle's struggles like a structure from a fairy tale. But there will be no miracles here. She joins the other victims of a turtle trap. Death by heat stress will take hours. With the salvation of the South Seas only a few meters away. Its cool fingers are already touching one turtle's shell. But it is a sarcastic caress. Tawny nurse sharks are usually nocturnal, but the turtle breeding season has broken its normal habits. It is roused from its slumbers by the daily tide of corpses. More than 30,000 humpback whales have converged on Antarctica for their summer feast. This is probably the only time they eat each year. They are mostly here for the krill. But a school of Antarctic herring is too good an opportunity to ignore. For such huge animals, chasing individual fish is not viable. So a more ingenious method is employed. A whale creates a curtain of air from its blowhole, spiraling upwards and around the school. Frightened by the bubbles, the fish huddle together. The whale tightens its net as it rises. The summer feeding frenzy is also in full swing for the emperor penguins. But once again, leopard seals are watching and waiting in ambush. This time, the ambush fails. Even on the ice, they are not safe. But the leopard seal lacks the agility of its feline namesake. However, the emperor is no ruler of this icy domain. Playing dead is the penguin's only survival strategy. The leopard seal does not need to wait long for its next victim. Few go hungry at this time of year. The sun has brought a bounty. For the trapped turtles, death cannot come quickly enough. But the odyssey is not yet over. Through a gap in the rock, the turtle manages to free herself. Like the vast majority of the thousands of turtles that came ashore last night, she finally feels the longed-for embrace of the South Seas. But today's dangers are not behind her. Tiger sharks have no sympathy for her travails. She is too tired to flee. Green turtles are incapable of retracting their heads or flippers inside their shells. Death in the water comes little faster than on the beaches. The cautious tiger shark will take its time, circling and returning to its victim again and again. The cooling of the afternoon on the Juan Fernandez Islands signals it is time to return to the beach for the fur seals. For the starving pup, only the return of his mother matters. If a shark or killer whale has taken her, the pup is doomed. Somewhere in the din, a mother is calling. It seems almost impossible that she and her child will ever find each other. Suddenly, the pup's ears prick up. He begins to amble away from the shore. Making a beeline for his mother's call. A sniff is the final identity check. An exhausted mother and a starving pup settle back to nurse. The pup is enjoying a feast, remarkably high in fat. But the contentment will be short-lived. In just 5 days, the mother will return to the sea. The early evening light on Rain Island shines on some tiny new additions. Baby herons have emerged from their shells. The birds time their breeding to coincide with the turtles. Despite the desire to stay with her hatchling, the mother must take advantage of prime feeding time. She joins the phalanx of herons that have collected on the water's edge. What they are waiting for soon becomes clear. Baby turtles usually head to the surface at night. But the drop in temperature at sunset has fooled one clutch into emerging. The hatchlings are easy pickings without the cover of darkness. They are swallowed whole and alive. The turtle's only survival strategy is weight of numbers. But with no other nests hatching at the same time, this entire clutch is doomed. The new mother heron must pay a high price for this meal. She is not the only one preying on infants. A hungry gull takes advantage of the unguarded nest. Beneath the surface, it seems an afternoon calm has fallen across the reef. With the day's foraging satisfying one hunger, attention wanders to another. Flatworms are on the move, in search of sex. They are hermaphrodites. They produce both eggs and sperm, but they don't fertilize themselves. They need new genes to mix with their own. When they meet, an expected move might be for one to play male and the other female. But flatworms play by their own rules. Each tries to stab the other with its spear-like penis that inseminates by piercing any part of the skin. In this fencing match, the rules are simple. Stab and avoid being stabbed. The price of defeat is bearing the burden of motherhood, committing valuable resources to having offspring. But the loser is also victorious. Its eggs will be fertilized by winning genes. The flatworms are not the only ones preoccupied with matters of the heart. A female broad-club cuttlefish is searching for a partner. And this cuttlefish has turned out to be a bit of a cougar. Females usually mate with only the largest males. But this tiny suitor has gotten lucky. He inserts a specialized arm near the female's mouth and deposits his sperm. Before the female makes a swift departure. But this is no guarantee that the young male will become a father. Females accept sperm sacs from multiple males. Tonight, she must find a place to lay her eggs. But darkness brings a whole new set of challenges that not all of the inhabitants of the South Seas will overcome. In the dead of night, Rain Island's beaches come alive. Under cover of darkness, the sheer weight of numbers protects the turtles from predators. The confluence of small streams from individual nests forms a leathery river, instinctively flowing towards the glitter of the ocean. The hatchlings are more maneuverable than their parents and can right themselves if they land on their backs. But as they near the water, they are greeted by a slow-motion invasion force. Tonight's wave of pregnant females is storming Rain Island's beaches. Their struggle for life doesn't end at the water's edge. It is just beginning. Midnight in Antarctica is anything but. It is not long after the summer solstice, and the sun barely wobbles as it traces a halo above the continent. The time of day means nothing. But the 24 hours of light serves to illuminate the shadowy side of the penguin colony. This Mother Adélie has just returned from fishing and is ready to dispense the food. But there is not enough for both chicks. The Adélies employ a system as simple as it is brutal. The mother runs from the chicks. The chicks chase her. The fastest gets the food. Food chases are designed to distribute food evenly. The hungrier chick more inclined to chase the parent. But in lean times, parents cannot provide for 2 chicks, and one will fall too far behind. Predatory skuas are always waiting to pick off the weak. This chick is already much smaller than its sibling. Perhaps when the father returns from the sea, its desperation will win it the race. Or perhaps it is now witnessing its own future. The emperor penguin chicks are not so vulnerable. They hatched many weeks ago in the depths of winter. And now, at the height of summer, they are ready to fledge. The fluffy chicks look too young to be on their own. But the black tips on their wings show that underneath their down, they have already grown their diving feathers. They seem to lack the courage to take the first plunge. But the ever-shifting pack ice forces their hand. Their first dive is the beginning of a long journey. For the next 4 years, they will hunt the South Seas. When ready to breed, these birds will return here, to the exact place where they hatched. On the Indonesian reef, this city of coral has a bustling nightlife. The glamorous and captivating emerge to strut the coral streets. But the female cuttlefish is not here to socialize. She is searching for privacy. Her tentacles reach into the recesses of the reef to find a place to deposit her precious eggs for their 5.5-week development. This is the end of her maternal role. Soon, she will die. Nearby, another mother's eggs are ready to hatch. Hatchlings emerge as perfect miniatures of adult cuttlefish. Instinctively, they know that safety lies in the sheltering recesses of the corals. Where the baby cuttlefish will hide and begin its first day of life. The tiny green sea turtle swims against the waves towards a destination that not even she knows. If she avoids her multitude of predators, she will soon be propelled into the relative safety of deep water by the currents. Where she goes for much of the decade it takes to reach maturity is unknown. But if she survives, she will one day brave the sharks and the boneyards and follow the irresistible pull back to the beaches of her birth.